Representative Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think I hope everybody understands that there is a legislative compensation commission that is in charge outside of our own body to determine the compensation and how we are remunerated for our efforts. I'd like to express my appreciation for their efforts and try to determine our work and the value it is to the state. They have instituted a program that, effective January of this upcoming year, there is scheduled to be a $10 increase in our pay from 130 to 140. And on an hourly rate, if you somewhere nickel an hour for effort on what we do in the overall state. But in light of why we are here now and what we're doing in budget constraints, I think I'm asking you if you would join with me in allowing a statute change so that later on today, after the statute has been enrolled, allow us an opportunity to say, I think this year we would like to not accept that. We'd take our share of what's involved rather than an automatic increase. We would take our cuts along that we're asking all the other agencies to do as well. Currently, right now, the statute reads that we're allowed to do this in general session and not special session. All this particular bill does is allow that an opportunity for us in special session to also say we would like to decrease or decline that automatic increase. With that, Mr. Speaker, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Representative Clark. Further discussion to the bill. Representative Hansen.
Will the sponsor yield to questions?
Sponsor yield?
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Can you tell me if the executive branches, have we ever decreased their pay when we've had budget crunches like this? I know we work with their budgets, but has members of the cabinet ever taken a decrease when we have these budget cuts?
That's a really good question. I don't follow the executive compensation that close. I don't know. Do not know the answer to that.
Okay. And then doing it at this time in a special session just before an election, I know we're going to be having new representatives that are going to be coming up here, that this would directly affect them. Is this something that we should be deciding for them this close to the election when we're going into a new session in just a few months, that maybe we ought to wait until the new session and we have new representatives sworn in?
If you'll note, one of the items on here addresses that an even numbered years are the only years under statute in which we are allowed to do this type of consideration, even in a general session. So those new legislators would have to already be on board and make that determination. So I don't see that as a particular challenge. In fact, I think just the opposite. I think that we have been elected up here to make those determinations and that we should do so. So I would encourage your support in this slight modification.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate your candor.
Thank you, Representative Hansen. Further discussion. Representative Noel.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would the sponsor yield to a question?
Sponsor yield?
I will.
Please go ahead.
I appreciate the good representative for Santa Clara bringing this legislation. The question that I have is, are you aware of the inequality that exists between members of this body, those that live 5 to 6 hours away during the session, come up here during the session for 45 days, receive per diem, which they then use to pay for their motels and their food, etc., as opposed to may live just a few miles away from this body? Are you aware of that situation and how that impacts legislators from rural Utah?
It's a very good question. And there are probably only a few of us. I could probably be challenged in my own district, but I live on I-15 if it has a zip code. I fully understand that consideration and the miles and what's involved. And the disparity, I would say, between those that live a few miles and those that live hours away receiving the same remuneration. This particular, what we're involved here, is narrowly crafted to deal only with the $10 increase. But I think that's a very meritorious discussion for perhaps another day.
Thank you. I think, representatives, that we need to tackle that issue there is a need when you come to this body and come up here and spend 45 days of your time, and then during the interim, definitely to be compensated somewhat for your per diem, for your motel rooms. But there's a great disparity there. When individuals that live 5 and 6 hours away leave for a 45-day session, there's a hardship placed on them, and then that remuneration that comes to them is then paid out for their hotel. I think we need to look at that. If we really want to be fair and tighten the belts and save some money in this body, we ought to look at that during this next session. I'd just like to make you aware of that there is a disparity here in this body. $10 a day, that's fine. Let's make that cut. We need to tighten our belts. But let's also look and see where this disparity exists between rural legislators that have a great, I travel 5 to 6 hours to get up here. I spend an extra day getting up, an extra day coming back. There is no compensation for that. I'm not asking for that. But if we're really going to make cuts, let's take a look at our own budgets and see where that money goes. If it goes to pay hotel rooms, that's fine. If it goes into a representative's pocket, then we need to make a change in that. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Seeing no further lights, we'll go back to Representative Clark for summation.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Appreciate the questions and the discussion. The issue before us today is a simple technical change allowing us to consider either decreasing or not accepting what would automatically be a $10 increase this coming January. And I'd ask for your support in doing this. We hope to have this bill enrolled today and then bring back another resolution later this afternoon in which we could formally say, no, we will take our share of the cuts that are involved in the state as well. With that, Mr. Speaker, thank you.